slowdown. I know with like AI and everything being crazy, people are obsessed with shipping and increasing their shipping velocity and just getting more output. But it's important that you do like kind of take a step back and think about security, both from your coding and your programming, but also from a social engineering aspect. And just be careful when you attend conferences, I guess. Don't just download repos and open apps from people unless you really trust. Yeah, I think Poof kind of goes more into this direction of like, hey, it's a product that like a human can use, and it's cool. That still has its use case for humans that want to go in and like build. But I think we are just moving to a world where there's like this economy that's like untapped into really, right? Where it's like you're building it for these AI agents, right? And these agents can kind of come in and use the tooling and infrastructure that we've built for humans and in theory leverage them better than human would, right? And that should logically just pan out to better results. As Poof, we've always kind of had this vision of just putting a very powerful tool in people's hands and kind of seeing what they can do with it. And now what we've realized is we're not just putting this tool in the hands of people, but also AI agents and seeing what the agents can do with it. So I'm really excited about this world and what that looks like and these agents come up with.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I keep going back to like Lovable's motto when they're starting to build out, which is like building the last piece of software, and they're building essentially a vibe coding platform similar to us. And I think they're kind of looking at it wrong. I think, in all honesty, the last piece of software is probably going to be agentic software. It's going to be building software that lets you run agents, and those agents do everything. I saw a post the other day where somebody built an agent that scraped Google Maps, detected like millionaires' houses or very expensive properties. It detected if there would be an area for like a cool pool. It rendered an image of that pool, sent cold leads to all these people who own those houses, all out of band. The operator didn't do anything, and they were able to actually close deals. I don't know if it was just a bluff or whatever, but it's kind of paving the way for the future where humans aren't really doing anything. They're providing the idea, and agents are building it. And that's kind of what we're doing Poofy, right? We're seeding the idea of what we want to build, and Poofy is just going on and it's figuring out how to build it. It's, figuring out the infrastructure, building the APIs, deploying website, all that cool stuff, using the technology that we've built for Poof. So I think that's kind of, I think in all honesty, we're probably building the last piece of software, hopefully. We'll see how if it works out.
Thor's heads down right now. He is working.
I was
No, it's
just
so good.
pushing the last comment, yeah.
You're all good. I guess one kind of thought, Claude seems like the foundation for like much of every, I guess, AI kind of platform out there. Do we ever see like someone taking over Claude's position and being like the better infrastructure?
Even Anthropic knows that having the best model is not like a guarantee. Yeah, let's say hypothetically they have the best model right now, but I think they know, I mean, they can do their best work and try to improve these models and stay on the frontier, but people are going to catch up and competition is going to lead to maybe people that even can do it better. And I think that's why they've kind of moving in parallel into this super app, direction where it's like, hey, we're just going to take the whole piece of the pie. Like, yeah, we're going to build the models, but we're also going to build like the best tooling on top of these models. And I think Claude Code was like their experimentation with that, and they just kind of came out with it. They're like, hey, here's something built on top of our models, and showed, right, it kind of took over a lot of the traction that Windsurf and Cursor and some of these other tools had. And now, like just today, they're competing with Figma, right? They're kind of competing with everybody. They're literally going for the super app. And that kind of makes it so they're not necessarily tied to the model that they use. Like, I think they're still going to innovate there, and I still bet that they have the best, if not the better models out there. But I think even internally they know that's not the moat that you want to bet like hundreds of $1 billion company on, right?
I think every time like Claude launches a feature, somebody like within 5 minutes posts a screenshot of like a stock price and it's dumped 20% Figma, dumped 20% like on the announcement today.
That's what the market, but like if you believe the other side of that, great trade to make, like,
Yeah, 100%.
If you think, yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity, right? Like, it's just, yeah, what's your intuition tell you? Do you think Figma is going to win this battle? They've been doing this forever, right? They have these models at their disposal as well, right? Or you actually think Anthropic is going to come and just like eat everybody's lunch. So it's I don't know. I think about this trade a lot actually, and just the general like SaaS companies because like they've lost a lot of value in the past like year, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. As someone that's using these tools on a daily basis, 100%, but they're all just going to go to zero.
I think the cool thing, and I think it's what I respect about how Anthropic, you know, played the market is when everybody was building models, the majority of the big players are building models for the end user, ChatGPT, Gemini, like the whole like chat assistant flow, where Anthropic was building it really from like the ground up, from like a developer's perspective of like how do you build very technical LLMs that can do cool things. And that's why when like LLM started blowing up, nobody really cared about Claude. Nobody really knew about it. Everybody just knew about ChatGPT, Gemini, the X, because they were very much user facing. And I think because they took that approach, it was kind of like a slow but steady growth where once they really mastered the technical LLM, then they can apply all the other user experience on top of it, the design layer, Claude Code layer, so on and so forth. So to answer the question of like if anybody can overthrow them, I think they probably can, but I think because they built it in such a way, they kind of have that head start. Like now you see Codex coming out because they realized how good like these technical LLMs and applying these things like in a more technical way of thinking. So we'll see. If I had a bet, I think I'm still betting on Anthropic just on how their mindset is and like their business acumen is. So there's so much money in this space, hundreds of billions of dollars that people are just throwing at it. Who knows if another guy's going to come up? You have all these open source models that are just almost as good. So who knows, somebody can fine tune something really good.
Yeah, it's crazy how much money that company is making with the amount of people they have. Like I think like Facebook and Amazon and some of the other like tech giants that we're used to had like 20x more employees before they got to those numbers, probably even more. It's not talking profit, just revenue.
You know, I think that's even the crazier thing that you have Meta, Facebook, Amazon, these billion-dollar organizations with millions of employees. Yet these smaller studios, Anthropic, OpenAI, small, but in relation to these big companies, did it better. And I wonder if it's just like the prioritization, like they have the bread and butter to worry about. So like Meta couldn't do this, Amazon couldn't do this, but it's kind of interesting to see how the landscape fleshed out now that we're here.
And 2 years ago, Meta was all about the metaverse, and that like very quickly died.
Yeah, I remember being at Meta and when they were investing heavily in metaverse and just like, yeah, I'm not feeling this. Probably won't hold on to my stocks.
What about more stocks? Did anybody get into the Allbirds trade?
I did not know. I had the shoes though. Which years from now, some collector will be like, remember when Allbirds used to do shoes?
Another an AI company.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about this. I just looked it up now. That's crazy.
Dude, yeah, the literal transition from shoe company to AI company, craziest turn of events.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy because like I think the one moat in this AI era is like a good physical product, but they just want to grow the pie. I guess they probably hit the limits in the shoe market.
You know, I kind of respect it though because it's one of those like you either have to pivot or die.
Yeah,
And maybe the shoe company pivoting to AI is not the right thing, but like there are a lot of companies out there that are hoping the AI dies or hoping that all this stuff about like vibe coding and agentic software won't actually like replace humans and so on and so forth, and they're just gonna eventually just realize through cold hard facts that those are all true. So it's in this market you have to pivot or otherwise you're gonna die quickly with how fast AI is moving.
add to that one like common like thing that you see on Twitter is like everyone's building the same thing. And I think one kind of has to build the same thing. Like it's like the last thing to build, really. Like, and there's a reason for that. And like certain people are realizing that, right? And they're finding their little like moats and what makes sense for them. Like for us, it's like crypto and Solana, right? Like if you want to vibe code on crypto and Solana, this is the best place to do it. And we're carving out our portion of this market, and that market is just like overall intelligence, which no one really knows how to properly size that market anyways, like what really is the size of this. I'll take a bet on it's probably going to be the biggest market we ever see on the history of this planet, really. So everyone just wants a piece of that pie, right? And you gotta have something you do really well. And for us, that's like Solana and crypto, and for others, it's different things, right? But yeah, everyone will slowly kind of converge and build in the same thing. So
That's a good point. I think going now like skill is less of a thing. It's really going to be like data and intelligence. To your point, like that's going to be the key differentiator. A good analogy, right, is when AI was coming up, right? The previous mode of debugging, right, was going to Stack Overflow. There's billions of posts of people who had similar issues, similar errors, similar problems as you, and it was more of a collaborative approach to solving these things. And then when AI came across, right, you just typed in, I get this error, fix it. And Stack Overflow essentially overnight died, right? And they were sitting on so much data that they probably could have built their own, debugging LLM, fine-tune some open source models to use all the data that they've came across to build something probably at the time smarter of what the existing LLM solutions were doing in this debugging coding space. But they didn't. They just thought it would blow over, and now nobody uses Stack Overflow. So yeah, it's kind of sad.
Software engineers, we have a very unique perspective on this theme of what happens when anyone can build anything. Where if you were a decent engineer pre LLMs, whatever, you knew always internally that you could build anything. That was never the hurdle, right? The hurdle was always, hey, well, people use this thing. Is this valuable? Is it worth my time? An investment? Can I market this thing? Those were always the big reasons why, I wouldn't sit down and just, code okay, yeah, I can make an Uber clone, then what, right? And I think we just have this unique perspective, and now I think the world is kind of coming, they're getting this skill set that we've always had, and they're kind of learning what we've learned and have known already for the past, 15 years, however long you've been coding or programming. And yeah, there are going to be cool products that come out about, just like we saw pre-AI, right? Where if you knew kind of what to build and you had that right mindset of what it is, what problem it is that you're solving, and is the market kind of want something like this. But now it's just that ability is being more democratized across everybody, and it's going to be interesting to see kind of what pans out and what comes out from it. And that's just talking about building for humans. There's a whole different dimension of building for AI.